Do you have some emotional goals for the new year? I love flower and gem essences for just this purpose. I'm Lily from Brown Bear Herbs. I'm going to share with you a little bit about these magical, energetic medicines. And this is cutie. I first got into flower and gem essences when I had a head injury. And during concussions, emotions can often be pretty extreme, difficult to control, and um, they tended to take me like in a really strong direction, and then I had a hard time like swinging it back around, and that wasn't something that was very normal for me because I'm a longtime meditator and I'm used to kind of like equanimity vibes when I'm feeling good. I would take several flower essences a day, sometimes gem essences, and I would just kind of pick out whatever was going on that day, like however I felt. Like, was I having repetitive thinking? Was I feeling depressed? Did I need to be able to express myself better? Whatever it was, I just took like, 5 to 6 of them and put them into my water, and I would sip them throughout the day. I didn't have somebody helping me, and I didn't have a protocol, and I wasn't doing the same thing every day. Some of them I took very frequently, like Fillory is wonderful for repetitive thoughts. And it was so helpful for me because I would just get into a thought loop and I didn't feel like I could get out of it. And it was it was stressful. Nobody wants their brain to be out of control. And that's what a concussion is. I learned a lot by doing that. I learned that flower essences and gem essences are just super helpful for dealing with the emotional underlying kind of structures that create our health in many ways. Because if you get like a cold and your reaction is like, I want everybody to leave me alone, I don't like attention, I kind of just need my space, versus I have a cold and I really need a lot of attention, like you need to like be around me 24/7, like I'm really feeling this. Those are like two really different things. And one might be more of like an agrimony person, like I'm stoic, I can do this by myself, like I've got a smile on, you don't know how I'm suffering, and I don't want you to know because that's emotionally vulnerable, and I don't feel like I could risk that. I've not been taught that I can risk that and have support. And then, chamomile is more like, they say babies of any age, like you're just getting needy and wanty and you want a lot of support, and it's like a big deal that you're not feeling well, however you're feeling. Those are two examples of how your emotions kind of shift what's going on in the course of your illness. And the other factor is your environment. So if you have an environment that says, yes, I'm here for your like neediness, that's going to have a different outcome than if you are needy and wanty and your environment is telling you you can just deal with your own effing problems. So, or, if you have people who are really trying to like kind of take advantage of your stoicism, then you can end up taking on a lot that you don't need to take on. There's other people in the world that might be more able to help you come to a place where you're going to be able to be authentically emotional and express authentic needs, and that's going to be good for your health in the long run. It's important to express your emotions. When we're trying to manage the outcome of an illness, a physical manifestation of dis-ease, we want to look at emotions and maybe spiritual imbalance. Could be like the idea of like repetitive thinking. You might think of that as more of like a neurochemical thing or an inflammatory process, but it's like a mental, it's falling into like the mental health, psychological category. So we're looking at, for these essences, mental health, mental habits, emotional and energetic harmony, goals. If you want to feel more creative, that's something that could be supported by these essences too. If you want to feel more in connection with your sexuality, or you don't want to feel as connected to your sexuality because you want to be able to think about other things, then these are things that essences could help you like redirect your energy. And in that case, I wouldn't say that the goal would be like less sexuality. I would say it'd be like, well, what do you want to be feeling? So these are useful for manifestation. And I keep bringing it back to physical health because if you can address the underlying emotions beneath the physical dis-ease, sometimes that can take like the legs out from under the disease. And then you have what's known as wellness. I've seen this happen a lot. I've seen this happen from like, just getting over a cold faster and like feeling better when you're sick to big changes. Like I went into remission for my Hashimoto's for 7 years due to a flower essence. I felt like that was the biggest player in all the things that I did. And I wasn't taking it very much. A couple drops, a couple times a year. And it was just a really intense essence, San Pedro's Cactus. That's an example of a flower essence that's like really high potency energetically. So you're not taking a material, like ethnobotanical, if you want to call it that. You are taking just the energy of it. And that's really my preferred way to work with any of those types of substances, plants. And that is because you maintain your sobriety while connecting to like the shifts that plant can offer. But I really caution you to approach those energies with appropriate caution and respect and a sense of awareness of what you're getting yourself into. So do research. Like, what kind of changes am I looking at? In the case of San Pedro's Cactus, it is known to prompt big lifestyle changes that will shift your health. And it is also known that if you will not make the change for yourself, it will make it for you. And so, in my case, that resulted in a big positive health shift. It also was something I was not willing to do myself. I did not feel safe enough to deal with an abusive situation. So the situation kind of erupted in a way where I could not help but like bring it to light and speak out against it. I didn't have a choice. And that gave me my health back, which is an amazing gift. And it gave me like the strength to be able to deal with the repercussions, but it was not something that went well for me. What I mean by that is San Pedro's Cactus has this ability to make you see through mass delusions. And what you need to know is that other people, like almost everybody else, is deeply committed to these mass delusions. So you should understand that sometimes the price of health is going against what's considered normative conventional behavior and like emotional expression and stuff like that. It's important to be strategic. I want you to have health and I want you to get through to the other side of whatever problems that you're having. But let's say you were in the situation where you're like closeted queer and it's causing you health problems. It's really hurting you because you're like, I know who I am and I'm like hidden inside. Well, it can be problematic to come out because you could lose like financial support and stability and a lot of things like that. So that's something to really think through. It's like, do you need to be seen by everybody or do you just need to have like a pocket of people who see you and honor you? And I don't think that it's the same answer for everybody. You might have a life's mission to just bust out on your own and you just need to deal with like letting the chips fall where they may. Or you might be a different type of person where you need to kind of be strategic and have all your resources so that you can make the most of things in a different way. Some other examples of ways to use essences could be like, let's say you are worried about losing control of your emotions, and part of that is like father issues coming up and dealing with super big disappointment around like a long-term relationship. You could try taking a combination of cherry plum for that fear of losing control of your emotions, which could be very real. Like there's a high likelihood of that happening. Cherry plum can be really helpful for smoothing things out. And then ruby for grounding and like getting to your heart and dealing with father issues. And then forget me not, maybe for honoring what was in the best ways that you can, grieving, and realizing that you can make new positive memories. So that would be like a little combo that you could try. My color wheel essence is a great one if you're an artist and you're having like a bit of the blahs, or if you are having the blahs and you're not an artist and you just want to see like the magic around you. You don't want to feel bored all the time. I have an abundance one that is called Better Luck This Time. If you've been really getting a lot of shit sandwiches delivered to your doorstep, or maybe like not even caring that the door is shut, and you just been having a hard time, and it's so much of a hard time that you don't really feel like you can really manifest a better situation, then Better Luck This Time could be a great one for you. Really bringing in like positive vibes and refreshing that sense that you probably had at some point in your life that you can like create a better world. And you know what? Maybe you didn't have that. You can have a feeling that things will get better, and things can get better. It's amazing how like the vibrational energy can shift things. Bottom line, there's like as many essences out there as there are like emotional goals. And I encourage you to read about them on our website, and I'm working on videos for all of them, but watch the videos that are there at this point, and then go for the ones that call to you. What I have to say about them is kind of like a condensed version, and there are new things that you can like observe happening from the essences that might be just right for you and is not written online or on our site. So I encourage you to go with your like what calls to you, and also like look around in your neighborhood. Is a certain flower calling to you? Like I was in Southern California recently, and I kept seeing birds of paradise, and I looked at the meeting because I knew I'd interacted with it before, and it has personal memories for me associated with a friend who just loved birds of paradise. And when I read about it, I was like, yeah, that's great. That's great for me right now. It's kind of fun to do it that way too, to just be like, you know what? I'm always seeing wild rose. Like, what's wild rose good for? And then you read about it and you're like, oh, like there can be like fresh new like life again. Because sometimes you get to a point in your life where you're like, it's like the same every day. I kind of go to my work, and then I see the same people, and then I come home and I'm doing the same interaction, and I'm feeling really blah. I'm feeling like this is how it's going to be for the rest of my life. And then Wild Rose comes along, and it's like, no, there's like exciting energy out there, and you're part of it. You create it, and other people do too. But like, let's get that vibe going on. I hope that 2025 is like a really fun year for you, but I hope that's a lot because you decide to choose your own adventure. Thinking about how you want to be feeling and what's really important to you. And then finding some allies to put in your water. I usually do like 5 drops in a liter of water and then sip throughout the day. If I'm in a hurry, then I'll just put a couple drops in my mouth, or I'll put 2 drops in my coffee and 2 drops in my tea and then 2 drops in my water later. It's fine. It's not a rigid protocol. Most of the time, what you're going to find is that it's a gentle effect. If you're taking something that's not dialed into you, then usually it just like doesn't do that much. If you're taking something that works really well, it can create like pretty big changes. A lot of times it's kind of in the middle. Like it's just giving you a little boost for the day. but I think it's empowering. And I'd like you to feel empowered, and I'd like you to think creatively about, like, what life would be like if, you didn't change how much money you had, you didn't change the people in your life, you didn't change, your job, but you feel different inside. And maybe you do change it all. Maybe you just like take some stuff or think about it and you're like, you know what? I need to like get rid of this addiction. I need to get rid of this like toxic AF friendship. I need to change things up. That's great too. There's a lot of ways things can go. You can find our essences at brownbearherbs.com. There's a lot of videos on the product descriptions and in the community blog, and then of course on YouTube. If you like this video, please like and drop comments about your experiences and any questions you have. Have a great day.